Welcome back to Autodesk Digital Builder Podcast. I am your host, Eric Thomas. Today, we are once again coming live from Nashville, Tennessee at Autodesk University, and I am joined by Dara Treseder, the Chief Marketing Officer of Autodesk. Dara, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're in Nashville with all of our thousands of best friends, customers, partners. The energy is high. The news has been hot from Andrew this morning. Lots of exciting things. Live demos went off without a hitch, no glitches, so many live demos with AI, and everything was perfect. So I'm feeling good.
The anxiety of live demos, especially as things are early on, is terrifying. So I'm happy to hear everything went smoothly. The keynotes this morning were fantastic. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it went really well. You did not want to see me before they went. I was sweating buckets, but it went really well. Everything went great. So I'm relaxed now.
Yeah, now we're just having fun. No, only a couple people watching us. Hello, audience. It's good to see all of you.
Good to see y'all. People showed up.
It's been a couple of years since we had a chance to catch up. I'm super grateful for you coming back on Digital Builder again. What's new? What's exciting? I know there's been a lot of crazy announcements in the last couple of years. What's top of mind for you?
Wow, there's been so much. Where to start? I think first of all, I'm really excited about the news Andrew, our CEO, announced this morning about Autodesk Construction Cloud becoming a part of Autodesk Forma, and ultimately providing our customers with a cloud-based AI-native end-to-end solution. I think nothing could be more exciting, giving everything that we are facing as an industry with all the resource constraints that we have. I think finally the technology is going to allow us to be smarter, to be faster, to be more sustainable, to be more efficient. And I'm just really, really pumped about that. Also, I think there was some big news that happened after I was on the podcast. So in case you don't know, I feel like we should share that Autodesk is the official design and make platform of the LA 28 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And that's especially big news because the budget, right, that is going to be spent is over $7 billion in construction.
Wow.
That's very exciting because not only is this great for Autodesk, but this is incredible for our customers and the ecosystem. And most importantly, it's exciting for LA because this is going to be the most sustainable Olympic Games ever. And our goal is to leave the city better than we find it, right? So I think that's really exciting because not only are we going to deliver an exciting games, we're going to put America on the map, California on the map, LA on the map. Well, we're already on the map, but just deeper on the map. But I think it's also going to help the LA and the greater LA society. It's going to make sure that we are contributing and we're actually putting something in, not just taking something out.
Yeah, the impact of the games is tremendous, and the amount of infrastructure that gets brought in is wild, and it's just a wonderful moment to be very intentional as we build this up and think sustainability and reusability. I actually had a conversation earlier today with Joe Spiker and Ali Scott on sustainability, so this is very top of mind for me right now. I'm very excited to hear that, and I think there's just a lot of really cool stuff going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting. We're going to be retrofitting over 40 venues across the greater Los Angeles area. So, usually when Olympic Games are happening, what happens is people end up building new buildings that nobody wants.
Yep.
And after the games are over, the buildings are kind of deserted. And it's almost like it's taking away from the community. Whereas here, we're actually retrofitting and improving buildings so that already exist. So when the games are over, we're leaving the society and the community stronger.
And it's so nice when we can think that long-term building life cycle instead of being so rooted in 1, 2, or 3 years. I think it's going to do a lot for LA. And I'm hoping I get to go to the Olympics this year. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be very exciting. I will neither confirm nor deny, but it's going to be fun.
It's all good. Well, Dara, I know we're here to talk about Autodesk Design and Make Report this year. And there was a construction breakout and a lot of really interesting insights that came from that. And of course, you and I are very familiar with the report, but I'd love it if we could start off by just digging in. Could you tell those of us out there who might not be as familiar, what's the report all about and what's the reasoning behind Autodesk doing this research every year?
First of all, if you don't know about the State of Design and Make report, you should. Bookmark it, look it up. Every year we release it. We've been releasing it now for the past few years. And essentially what this report does is it's our flagship research. So it looks across all our industries, not just construction, but architecture, engineering, operations, product design, manufacturing, media, and entertainment. So all of the design and make industries, which employ about 300 million people. And it says, what are the patterns? What are the trends? What are the insights? What exactly is going on across the design and make industries? What should we be paying attention to? Where is the future going? What are the problems and challenges that we're facing, and how can we solve them?
There's a lot in there, to say the least, but I think it's why people get so excited about it.
So exciting. It's like on my coffee table. You know, people come to my house, they think they're coming to hang out with us. No, read the Design and Make report. It's thrilling. It's
we're getting
riveting stuff.
I love it. So with that said, what are some of the bigger findings that really come to mind for you? Like, what really stood out?
So I have to say, we recently released a Pulse report, because the original report was released in April of this year, but we just released a Pulse report because we were like, we've got all our friends coming to AU. What's changed? With AI, things are moving so fast. So we wanted to be able to share with people what has changed. And I have to say, this stat really floored me. 86% of our businesses across all these design and make industries are saying over the next 5 years, we want to be fully cloud-based. Who can guess how many are cloud-based today? Anyone can guess? Anybody in the audience? 3%. Somebody read the report. I like it. I like a great student. You're getting an A. Yes, 3%. So if you think about where we are and where we want to be, there's a massive gap. I see that as a massive opportunity, and especially in construction, right?
Yeah.
This creates a huge opportunity because we know where we need to be, but the reality is where we are is a far cry from where we need to be. And in that space, I think there's a lot that we can do to solve our customer problems as we bridge that gap and take them from being at that 3% point to getting to the 86% point where we need to be as a society and as a community.
I love your framing of the opportunity here, because it's very easy to get trapped in saying, oh, this is bad. And it's not great. Let's be real. But I think especially within construction, leaders who can step back and go, what can I control? What can I make improvements on amidst all of the market uncertainty, amidst all of the change conditions in construction? That's where you get to focus and really make improvements to your margins. But I think in the end, these organizations are the ones that are going to remain competitive. This is a critical driver and critical moment for the AECO industry more broadly to make big changes where they're able to pull levers where alternatively the environment might not bring those along the way. It's a big moment right now, and I'm optimistic that we've got a lot of good things coming, especially with everything shared this morning.
I'm definitely very optimistic. And I think one of the things that is really, I see a lot, especially in the construction, the AECO industry, people aren't necessarily interested in just talking about technology for the sake of technology.
True.
But people care about, what is this going to do for me? How is this going to solve my problems? How is this going to help me deliver faster, deliver on time, deliver below budget? How is this going to help me impress my owner? So this isn't the first or second or third project, but I'm their go-to partner for future construction projects. And so we want to lean into that. So for us, it's not so much about saying, hey, the future is going to be at 86%. You're at 3%. We are at 3%, but it's saying, hey, right? Going from 3% to 86% is going to solve all of these problems that you're dealing with today.
Yeah.
And leading with how we are solving our customers' problems, that's where we need to anchor and focus on.
And construction has no room to dance around and just talk about this.
No,
and that's why they can be.
This isn't the room where people want to, shoot the breeze and talk about hype.
No, they got to get it done. Got
to get it done. That building will not build itself.
Absolutely. But we may get there one day, but not quite. But I think this leads into my next question quite nicely, actually. You mentioned AI a moment ago, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about the perception of AI in construction and how that has evolved across the design and make industries in the last few years.
About 70% of construction companies are now realizing that AI is very important and something that needs to be incorporated into workflows. That's a far cry from where we were. As an industry, we were a little bit more manual, a little bit more living in spreadsheets, not even necessarily using software technology. So coming here to a point where 70% are saying, hey, AI is important, that is new news. But what continues to exist is the skills gap. We still do not have the technical skills needed to be able to deliver on utilizing and adopting these tools in a way that can really push things forward. And so that skills gap exists. And that's why for us at Autodesk, we are focused not only on providing the software, but on bridging the skills gap. A lot of folks tuning in might not know this, but we make our software available for free to students and educators all around the world. This was several $100 million business before we decided to make it available for free. And that is because if we see a gap and we just talk about the gap, well, what are you going to do about it? So we decided to put our money where our mouth is and help solve and bridge that gap. And what I love about what our education offering is, not only is it great for the next generation, but it's also important for the current generation. If you're there and you want to upskill yourself, you can enroll in an accredited institution and use Autodesk software for free to get better at utilizing and bringing in technology into the construction workflow, all the way from pre-planning through to operations. And we're seeing that happen more and more. But that skills gap still exists. And it's interesting. I was at an event the other day and I was talking and I said, how many of you want your kids to be utilizing AI? Everybody puts up their hands. And I'm like, how many of y'all want your kids to be, in manufacturing and construction? Not a lot of people putting up their hands. And I'm like, AI and technology is in construction and manufacturing. So part of what we also need to do is demystify what people think about construction and manufacturing. I think that sometimes people aren't as aware of the role that technology plays, how important this is. In the construction space, it's always going to be AI and human ingenuity. You're never going to take humans out of the equation. So what a great place for you to not only sharpen your skills, but also thinking about being relevant, not just today, but tomorrow. I think construction technology and manufacturing technology is very important. At Autodesk, we just committed to, over the next 4 years, training over 1 million people in construction and manufacturing technology with a focus on AI.
I'm so encouraged to hear that. And I mean, I'm so deep in the weeds. I hear about the skills gap all the time. And it's both in the new generation coming out of university, and it's also with the folks that are already working in industry who have to learn new skills and have to change and adapt in the ways that they work. And so I think there's a ton of room to be optimistic right now. And I'd love it if you could talk a little bit more about that. Like, just share some more of your thoughts on what are some of these silver linings? Like, where are you seeing AI deployed now that you're really excited about, or where are things really showing up in a way that, feels like it's working well?
So I have to say, and I know you already talked to Joe, so hopefully he didn't steal my thunder, but I'm really excited about how it's being used in sustainability. When we think about getting to those sustainable outcomes, AI technology is changing the game. And even from the most recent polls, one of the biggest use cases, most successful use cases of AI technology right now is in achieving sustainable outcomes. And I think you're only going to see that grow. And it's interesting because when we talk about sustainability, I think sometimes people just think, oh, this is like nice to have. This is actually important to have. Resilience is sustainability. Efficiency is sustainability. Reducing waste is sustainability. All of these things are really important, not only to creating and building more buildings that last the test of time, but also creating infrastructure and cities and environments that are able to stand the changes that we're continuing to see in the environment and are able to recover from disaster, right? Which we continue to see across the world. So these things are really important. And having AI guide us to make better decisions, help us with optimizing use of materials so we can use better materials and also use them more efficiently. I'm hopeful about that, because when we talk about our why at Autodesk is designing and making a better world for all, right? It's kind of funny because if you find my 7-year-old and it's like, what does your mommy do? She's like, she makes stories about designing and making a better world. But it's like designing and making a better world for all. This is what gets us up every morning. It's why we show up day in, day out. But at the end of the day, our customers, all of our customers who are here, I'm looking at them in the audience, they're the ones who make it real. And so for us to be able to support them in making those decisions, those better decisions, smarter, faster, more efficiently, more effectively, and being able to have AI be it's just another tool to be able to do that. I'm really hopeful about the future.
And your point about the sustainability narrative shifting is so incredibly important. I really enjoyed my conversation with Joe earlier, and he made a point that really resonated with me, where now, especially with the use of artificial intelligence as this technology moves forward, despite the resources that are used in that, we've got a tailwind coming that is going to propel us into making sustainability profitable for businesses now, where it's not just a cost where they go, it's more expensive for me to use sustainable materials or to reuse materials or whatever trajectory an organization is looking at. Now we actually have a very strong business case to say, okay, not just the fact that you're being sustainability because it's important. This actually improves the bottom line in your business, and this really moves the needle forward for whatever facilities you're constructing. It's a really exciting moment right now.
Yeah, we're seeing it improve the bottom line and also the top line. So when we're seeing that happen, around the world.
I want to come back to the talent piece of the skills gap. What strategies are you seeing leaders using right now to employ and attract a lot of fresh talent? Because it's a challenging market and a lot of new skills are necessary with the different technology that's being deployed. What did that look like in the report?
What we're seeing is, first of all, increasing accessibility is so important. And obviously at Autodesk, we're leading the way there by making sure that our software is available to accredited institutions. But accessibility is key. I think the second thing is intentional and deliberate training of the workforce. At the end of the day, we have to, as employers, invest in training and upskilling the workforce. And this is something that I think, especially in the construction space, has to happen within community. So I was talking to one of our customers actually earlier today, and they were talking about how they have just started doing this series of events in different communities where they do have construction projects, where they have breakfast and lunch available. And so they're like, hey, just come in and instead of buying breakfast, have breakfast or lunch on us and learn. They call them like technology days, and learn about the technology we have and how it can help you with improving your construction workflows and being on time and on budget, right? And helping you drive and deliver those outcomes that are so important to your owners. So it's that in-person engagement, especially with construction. This really happens locally. It happens in community. So we're seeing people leaning into that more. Third thing I would say that we're seeing happen, I think, across the board, especially from a construction standpoint, is a real focus on thinking through accuracy and the importance of data and data management and data sharing. There was a time when data was one of those things that everyone was very guarded on, and it was something that wasn't really spoken about. But all of a sudden, I think people are starting to see, wow, if I want to deliver on this stakeholder management from pre-planning all the way to operations, wouldn't it be great if instead of just moving files or having manual processes that take weeks, I could easily share my data in real time? Data management and data collaboration is one of the things that I think people are really starting to get interested in, the power of granular data and the opportunities that unlocks in terms of efficiency, effectiveness, and sustainability.
Yeah, and I can think of so many examples in my own career working in construction where everything was hiding on a server in a folder under a folder, underscore.
Can't even remember the name of the folder.
Like, oh my gosh. And it's so manual and time consuming. But I also really love your point about just the very intentional decision-making behind exposing people to the new technology and training, because people don't learn these skills and develop understanding of rapidly changing and evolving tools unless you give them the opportunity to. Absolutely. And it's hard to do in construction. I have tremendous empathy because the deadlines are tough, the labor challenges are ongoing, and it's hard to bring everybody off of a project and say, we're going to sit down and learn about this. If you're creating those really deliberate touch points as everything moves forward, you can do a lot for your team, and your team responds to that because they go, okay, I work at this company and they care about my understanding of this technology, and it makes them a more desirable employee, and it evolves the workflow that they have. There's a lot of good in that, but you have to be very deliberate.
You have to be very deliberate. And the only thing I would add to that too is also sharing examples of what great looks like. So being able to bring examples, hey, here's someone just like you, a project manager just like you, a contractor just like you, an owner just like you. Here's how they used it. Talk to them. Get these real world examples that kind of demystify it and take it from, oh, sounds like a great marketing message. I know as a CMO, I shouldn't be saying that, but this now starts to feel real. It starts to feel concrete, it starts to feel grounded in reality. And people are more willing to embrace that which is authentic and that which is true and real.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we see it show up in our own day here at Autodesk, which I'm very grateful for. Well, Dara, I know we've covered a lot of ground here. Does anything else come to mind from the report? I mean, there's so much more in it. So aside from saying, go download it, and we'll include a link in the show notes.
Go download it.
So make sure you go check out that report. Anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today tied to the joy that is Design and Make?
I think what I would just say is, look, I think sometimes in the world you can turn on the news and things can feel really bleak. And I think there's a lot of hope.
Yeah.
One of the things, and I looked at the report, it gave me a lot of hope because I think, look, technology is continuing to evolve, but there's still a huge space for us as humans to embrace this technology. And we are in the driver's seat. Technology is not in the driver's seat. We are in the driver's seat. So instead of running away or hiding under a rock or pretending it's not happening, the sooner we embrace it, the sooner we bring our human ingenuity, because AI will lift the floor, but it's human ingenuity that's going to raise the ceiling. So when we think about what comes next, we the humans bringing our ingenuity and combining it with fluency in technology, that's how we're going to drive progress and move things forward.
I'm very grateful for your optimism here. And I think it's incredibly important because, to your point, there's a lot of stuff in the market right now that is a little concerning. We won't go into any of it today, but it's easy to, fire up the news and go, oof, like, well, I'm not feeling great. And I think we have to be really deliberate about celebrating those wins and keeping the joy in the work that we're doing, in the way that we're really pushing the industries that we serve forward. And that's why I'm at Autodesk, and I'm very grateful for having conversations like this one. Dara, I've got one more question for you. I don't remember if I had time to ask you last time, but this is always a fun one for me. What is one tool that you use on any project, no matter what you're working on? Does anything come to mind?
So we have our Autodesk GPT, which I use now. And one of the things is I want to be very curious. And I'm someone with very strong opinions. But one of the things I've been working on in my journey with all my best friends here is really turning a judgment into curiosity. And so before I share my opinion, let me actually dig into asking why. And I found that, so I'll think about, hey, how can I be curious? And I'll put it into our Autodesk GPT. And I'll be like, is this curious enough? Usually it's like, Dara, let's go deeper, right? let's there's still a bit of judgment in there. I think we could be more curious. And I think by being more curious and asking why, I feel like I'm adding way more value than when I just come in with my judgment and my preconceived notion. I think today, especially with, everything in the environment, we can so quickly rush to judgment before taking a break and asking why. So I'm really trying to train my brain to be curious. But I'm a big believer in being a first-hand thinker, not a second-hand thinker. So I come up with the question, then I put it into AI, but I don't want to, rely on AI to come up with the question for me. I think it's really important that as we utilize AI, we're also continuing to challenge and work on our brains and being first-hand thinkers.
Well, I appreciate that glimpse into how you're leveraging Autodesk GPT personally. I use the tool all the time myself, but I think what you're saying here is really spot on in that we have to really intentionally step outside of our particular perspective or knowledge, because what we don't know, we don't know.
Exactly.
And it's very hard to come to the table and be responsive and receptive to what other people are sharing with us if we haven't taken that opportunity to step back and go, all right, so here's where my head is now. Here's my personal journey and experience. But where might somebody else come at from whatever topic we're talking about? The end result of those conversations that are informed in the way that you're talking about really bring a lot more value to everybody that's a participant. And I think it's a learning that everybody can step away from and have a big impact in the way that they, do some deep dives before they get into the critical thinking at work or at home or anywhere else.
I definitely have seen that in my journey, because I think often we are listening to respond, not listening to understand. Think about it. Next time someone's talking to you, you've already tuned out because you're already thinking about what you're going to say, that you're no longer listening to what they're saying. And so by being more curious, we can train ourselves to listen to understand. And all of a sudden, we just elevate the quality of the work, because when we are listening to understand, we model that behavior so others listen to understand. And then instead of everyone just shouting over each other, listening to respond, we're able to understand each other and arrive at a better solution.
As a podcast host, I like everything you just said. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Dara, I'm so happy that you're able to come back and join me again on Digital Builder. Hopefully, it's not 2 years before we have another chance to have a conversation. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the rest of Autodesk University. Very grateful for everybody here in the audience. If you haven't figured out why you're standing around me right now, this is Autodesk Digital Builder Podcast. If you'd like to take a listen or watch, we are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And until the next time, goodbye.